Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in a design talk with Aida Rasouli entitled The Influence of AI Generative Tools on the Creative Process.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this design talk. Today, I'd like to delve into the influence of AI generative tools on the creative process, specifically tailored to architecture and design. It actually took a while for me to come out and talk about everything. I believe it was a few months ago when I was drawn to these tools out of pure curiosity, and we started growing really, really fast. And suddenly we were bombarded with so many various requests and projects. People were asking me to participate and speak in events, give presentations, and basically asked, "Who are you? Come introduce yourself, talk about your process." And I was shocked. I was asking, what is happening? And the worst part was that I found it really hard to explain exactly what I'm doing because, these tools were new and I was acting mainly from a subconscious level. And when you want to talk about your thought process, you need to think about the way you're thinking and organize your thoughts and give them some form of structure and make everything teachable. And that's what PA parametric architecture asked me to do. They asked me to teach my approach, and that made me sit down and document everything. And it was through teaching that I gradually became aware of what I was doing and how I was thinking with these new tools. Today, I'm going to talk about my perspective on using generative tools. And so everything I'm going to share is based on personal experience and subject to change as I'm also learning and evolving. I'm going to talk about my approach, what I think about these tools and how I use them, about their strengths, their weaknesses. And also, I think at this era, people with certain skills and characteristics are going to be the ones who can really leverage these tools and push the boundaries of what's possible in design and architecture. I'm going to talk about those characteristics as well. So as I said, it was exactly a year ago that I was drawn to text-to-image tools, specifically Midjourney, out of pure curiosity to test some ideas I had in my mind. I saw some works of other people on social media, and it was really interesting for me to find out what I could do and achieve. I was really curious to test Persian concepts. I remember I started testing variations of a courtyard with a modern style, specific shapes and materials and colors with water features and plants in the middle. And it generated like 200 alternatives for me in less than 30 minutes. And the thought that occurred to me at that moment was, wow, this tool acts like some form of a specialized calculator. It doesn't solve the whole problem for me, but it generates unlimited possibilities in a fraction of time. This is the courtyard that I first tried and created limitless variations with. I was really amazed by the power of this tool to create so many alternatives and iterations in such a short time. And as you can see, the main characteristics of this space is the same, but there are small changes that would have taken me so much more time to come up with. And that is why I thought it is calculating all the possible solutions for me and helping me choose the best option. I also kept an eye on the community and what other people were creating. And from my observations, different people had very unique approaches and styles. Here are a few examples of what some other creators were doing in early days. Some were exploring the intersection of architecture and art. Some were working on integrating architecture. Some were exploring futuristic Zaha Hadid shape styles. So as you can see, there were inherent differences with what everyone was creating. And what seemed interesting about these tools was that they felt more like our ancient tools, such as pencils and brushes, than to some contemporary tools such as Rhino or 3ds Max. as they're very easy to use. There are basically 4 or 5 commands, and that's it. But different people achieved very different results with it that no other person could do. Also, people have very unique approaches while using them, which makes them more like how people went to different artists in the past to learn about their specific styles. As the more time passed and I gained some form of experience with the tool, I started asking myself questions. Questions like, what am I doing and why am I good at it? What makes me good at it? The first concepts I started creating were Persian conceptual forms. I was always wondering what would a combination between modern and historical Persian residential architecture would look like, and I tried them in some form of architectural model because models usually give more information about the overall form and spatial relationships. So the forms were pretty vague and buggy at the beginning, but as I started processing them further, they turned into really interesting figures. And the more I processed them, the more change they went through that they didn't even seem like residential or Persian anymore. So the results seemed interesting and creative. But the downside was that the results also seemed accidental and chaotic. And while I enjoyed having some sort of surprise in the results, sometimes the lack of control on the results felt exasperating. It also took a long time to reach something acceptable. And if you wanted to change something in the prompt, you needed to start over. But as the tool evolved, it somehow changed the way I interacted with it. I remember the first time I tried version 5, and it immediately gave me something fully evolved and fully realistic. I really hated it. I thought to myself that this is so boring, and what about all that process, all that surprise and concept evolution? But as time passed, I started looking at it in a different way. I started testing what if scenarios, like what if instead of this spatial arrangement, I try another one? What if I change the form from cubic to curve? And what if I use, for example, concrete instead of bricks and this color instead of that? And I started getting pickier and more sensitive about the results. I spent hours analyzing all the different alternatives and how they were different and why I preferred some over the others. These are some of the results I achieved with Midjourney version 3. They started with figures that were familiar forms. And as I processed them further and tried so many variations, the forms started changing. And as you can see, some are pretty fantastical, and it is really hard to believe all of these forms were made with one prompt. So how version 3 worked was basically making it hard for you to restart the prompt from scratch, but gave you some form of surprise along the way. Some of these images were processed for months to achieve this kind of visual. So the process I was going through both in version 3 and version 5, but more with the latest versions, it felt like I was exploring and searching for something. And this is exactly what you go through when you're brainstorming ideas for a design problem. So design in some ways also feels like exploration. What we traditionally did was doing research, analyzing case studies, and then exploring options by somehow using and blending all the information we gathered to find unique solutions. So I noticed that I still do all those steps. I still do research, I study projects and do some search on Pinterest. And instead of the process being reduced, it felt like another layer of searching has been added to the whole thing. That is blending information at a very fast speed as you're directly building on the information on the web instead of creating everything from scratch in a physical form or space. And as you're typing words to find solutions, it literally feels like you're searching for something that doesn't exist yet. You're searching by generating, and you keep tinkering with the results until you're satisfied with what you see and it fits your needs. So the issue with me is that I have so many favorites, so many favorite architects, artists, styles. And while I adored some aspects of their works, I didn't mind exploring for other options on how I could achieve something I preferred more, something that was closer to what I liked. Kind of being inspired by different aspects of so many legends, but trying to craft my own style by experimenting with them, blending them in new ways. So I developed this form of chaotic approach to test different ideas together. So basically, I create a chaotic environment of my favorite things. I am a person with unique opinions, knowledge, and experiences. I draw from my personal experiences a lot, and I also have specific personal preferences in terms of aesthetics. And then I somehow try to blend all of these and do trial and error to find out unique ideas and forms. Another thing I noticed was that I actually got really good and satisfying results, and there was some sort of vagueness about the subject of my exploration. I call them fuzzy goals, and I rarely was able to successfully create the exact vision of something that I had in my mind. That is why I differentiate this with popular visualization tools. To me, text-to-image tools are not visualization tools, but they look more like some form of a virtual idea lab where you can do unlimited trial and error, test different ideas, concepts, forms, materials, lighting, and even explore different intersections and then blend everything together. And this is something we designers always lacked in our workspace and something we desperately needed. So I look at AI generative tools the way a chemist looks at their laboratory. It's a place where I test and do thousands of trials and errors to reach a carefully crafted and unique result no one has reached before. This is what happened in newer versions. And I believe this is the possibility so many other creative AI tools in the future are going to unlock. As these tools become more advanced and they give the designer more control while also keeping the surprise element accessible, they really act as powerful allies to designers in the creative process. So what is the challenge? I believe the time-consuming challenge that arises here is the process of narrowing down options in which you need to analyze carefully each result and choose among unlimited possibilities. That's why I think the process we go through with these tools looks a lot like visualizing the brainstorming process. It has all the characteristics. You have a fuzzy goal, meaning you know where you want to go, what you want, but not exactly sure how you want it. And you test so many different ideas, and at the end, you need to select among so many alternatives and narrow down your options. So I started exploring and blending different ideas to craft spaces that were unique, engaging, and attractive at the same time. And I didn't really limit myself to some specific concepts, and that is the beauty of such tools. They're really powerful blenders. You can basically blend anything with anything. You can test with different artists, even fashion designers, sculptors, historical movements and periods, and see the reactions to the forms. For example, here I experimented with a Tetris effect on the space. And what I wanted to achieve was creating a space that is vast and large, but also intimate and offers spaces for exploration to try to gather two contradicting concepts in one place and also add an element of fun and playfulness to the whole thing. After some time, I also started looking at different concepts from more aspects, such as social aspects. This concept, for example, explores the power of play in forming positive social interactions and bridging the gap between generations. I was wondering if by creating some form of a spatial puzzle, some form of a 3D maze, with a theme all generations have memories with, you can create fun and playful spaces in urban cities that can both act as social hangouts and as spaces parents will explore alongside their children and create some form of generational bond and connection. I also use ChatGPT to evaluate my ideas, and when some idea suddenly occurs to me, it is the fastest way to learn about the pros and cons of it. So what I've been doing all this time has been experimenting with different form, different arrangements, lighting, ideas, and somehow trying to look at them from different perspectives. These are some of my earlier experimentations with forms, and I was wondering if I'm developing a resort consisting of so many small units, how many forms could they have? How could they look like? And how many spatial arrangements could they have? These are also some experiments on spatial arrangements. I experimented with so many arrangements, and here you can see circular, spiral, and pyramid ones. Here I also did experiments with lighting, and I was looking for artistic lighting in monumental sculptural forms, and you can see here some examples. So if I want to emphasize the strength point of these generative tools and how they're influencing the creative process, I would say it is this incredible speed of calculations from which you can blend ideas super fast and do trial and error at a speed you could never do in the past. Such opportunity never existed in the history of mankind. So what you basically need to be skilled at as a human is how to open this exploration and experimentation process and how to close it, meaning how to come up with different ideas and options and alternatives, test them, and how to eventually choose among them and narrow down. And this is not just about text-to-image tools or ChatGPT. I believe all the other creative tools that are going to become available in the future have the same characteristics. And people with these skills are going to be the ones who can really leverage these tools and expand the realm of design and architecture. Another way these tools are enhancing the design process is improving iteration and refinement. With these tools, creators can rapidly iterate and refine their work. They can efficiently evaluate various generated options, selecting the most promising ones and using their expertise to improve and tailor the results to meet specific requirements. The next way is automating repetitive tasks. AI generative tools can handle repetitive or mundane tasks, allowing designers to focus more on high-level thinking and problem solving. This automation frees up time and mental resources, enabling creators to delve deeper into creative exploration and innovation. So you can say the design process changes from creation to curation and from making to exploring and experimenting. Another characteristic of these tools is challenging and inspiring designers. They can present designers with unexpected and unique outputs, challenging them to think outside their usual patterns. This constant exposure to novel ideas can inspire and push creators to explore uncharted territories and push the boundaries of their creative work. AI generative tools can also facilitate collaboration between people. I collaborated with a colleague on a project, and the experience was really insightful. We started working on a conceptual form and the materials together, and I never expected two minds could reach results that are close to their specific approaches, while also novel at the same time. The experience made me conduct an experiment. I decided to lead a collaborative brainstorming session with the participants in my next workshop, which is in 4 hours, and see if AI can augment the creativity level of one person. What can a team achieve when all of them are equipped with AI tools? I don't exactly know if the session will be fruitful, but I think it's worth a try and see how it will turn out. So as I just mentioned, these are key strength points of these tools: their calculative power, their speed and efficiency, they're a really powerful blender of ideas, and they enhance the iteration process, and they can automate repetitive tasks. But they also come with a few limitations and weaknesses at this moment. These limitations might be fixed in the future as we see how fast these tools are growing. One is the lack of cohesiveness in the results, meaning each time you try different variations, you might get a very different set of images that have nothing to do with last images. So it kind of feels like this tool is giving you bits and pieces of a space or form, but the act of bringing everything together as a unified and cohesive concept is still on human designers. The next weakness is lack of human intuition. Human intuition refers to the ability of humans to understand and make decisions based on their deep understanding, experience, and unconscious knowledge. It involves a mix of creativity, pattern recognition, common sense, and the ability to consider factors that might not be explicitly stated. Human intuition draws from a wide range of disciplines and experiences. AI, however, tends to operate within predefined parameters, creating a challenge to make creative connections between seemingly unrelated fields. Human intuition often leads to creative ideas that are novel and unexpected. AI tools might generate content based on patterns in existing data, which can limit their ability to come up with truly original ideas. That is why it is essential that what happens between AI and human designers is a collaboration and not just a human relying heavily on AI for ideas. Creative fields often involve subjective decisions that are shaped by personal experiences, beliefs, and emotions, and AI lacks this personal and emotional context, leading to outputs that might miss the mark when it comes to evoking specific emotions or resonating with audiences. Also, as I mentioned earlier, it is really hard to capture exactly what you have in mind with these tools. So that makes us still reliant on traditional tools like hand sketching if we want to create that kind of vision. There are also some opportunities. By leveraging AI algorithms, designers can input a set of parameters, preferences, or constraints and witness the tool's ability to generate novel and unexpected design alternatives. This enables designers to explore new territories, experiment with unconventional ideas, and discover innovative solutions that might not have been apparent through traditional design processes. Through AI-powered exploration, designers can uncover design directions that challenge conventions and ultimately lead to more inventive and groundbreaking outcomes. The synergy between human and AI is a promising avenue for design. Human-AI collaboration empowers designers to leverage the strengths of both parties. Designers bring their creativity, intuition, and contextual understanding, while AI contributes to rapid data processing, pattern recognition, and generation capabilities. AI generative tools can empower individuals to express their creativity and unique perspectives in new and exciting ways. These tools provide a platform for self-expression by enabling users to interact with algorithms that can interpret their inputs and preferences. Users can infuse their personal style, emotions, and experiences into the AI tool, allowing it to generate content that reflects their individuality. So for young architects and designers, it can be a really helpful tool to explore different avenues and find what truly resonates with them. Sort of find their unique style and preferences, that invisible line that will connect all their works together. There are also possible threats regarding using these tools, such as bias and ethical concerns. Creativity often involves ethical and moral judgments that are shaped by cultural and societal norms. AI lacks the intrinsic moral compass and understanding of social implications that humans possess. So human designers must always be analytical of AI creations, trying to find biases and avoid them. So what are some skills and characteristics that designers need to have in order to truly leverage these tools and make use of their potentials? So as I mentioned a few things earlier, I likened the process we go through to a vast brainstorming process. I also mentioned that the human AI collaboration is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, the results may turn out generic and unoriginal. So basically, what humans need to learn how to do is how to open this process, how to come up with new ideas, blend them, experiment with them, and then how to close the process by narrowing down the options and making decisions. The opening is the opportunity AI provides because of its calculative power, and the closing is the challenge that comes with it. And so we, as humans, need to possess some skills and characteristics to leverage the opportunity and handle the challenge. In order to come up with new ideas, designers need to be able to think divergently, open the problem, explore so many ideas, and in order to narrow down, you need to have convergent thinking skills. Divergent skills involve thinking creatively and expansively, exploring a wide range of possibilities, ideas, and solutions. These skills encourage generating multiple options, perspectives, or interpretations for a given problem or scenario. Divergent thinking is characterized by the ability to think outside the box, break away from conventional patterns, and produce diverse and original concepts. Convergent thinking, convergent skills, on the other hand, are focused on analytical thinking and decision making. They involve evaluating and synthesizing information from various sources to arrive at a single, well reasoned conclusion or solution. Convergent thinking emphasizes logical reasoning, critical analysis, and selecting the most appropriate course of action based on available data. It aims to narrow down options to find the best fit solution among a set of alternatives. These two skills were already important in the design process, but they're even more important now because of this specific opportunity AI provides with exploring various options at a tremendous speed and the sea of possibilities and solutions you need to narrow down from. Convergent thinking requires expertise and judgment, and divergent thinking requires having a large pool of ideas to draw from. That is why I believe the ultimate winners in this era and the ones who can really leverage all these tools have to offer are specialized people with open minds and vivid imaginations. People with some level of expertise who have the experience and judgment skills, have been in the market for so long to recognize a cliched idea from an innovative one, and also having a wide range of knowledge and interests provides them with that pool of ideas to draw from, to connect different ideas and create things that didn't exist before. These people can combine their expertise with a creative mindset, enabling them to generate innovative ideas and solutions while also effectively evaluating and refining those ideas based on their experience and critical thinking skills. This is exactly the main reason I think at this time, learning and broadening one's knowledge base is more important than ever because AI tools act based on the data you put into them. And the more you know, the better questions you can ask, which will eventually lead you to better answers. So we live in an era where it is literally impossible to know everything. So knowing all the answers is not an option, but asking questions and knowing how to ask the right questions, reach the desired outcomes becomes more important. And curiosity is actually the driving force of asking questions. Curiosity leads you to ask questions, to learn more and create better, more innovative answers to problems. It is also essential to adopt a lifelong learning mindset as we really need to stay updated with industry events. And here are some tips on how to improve creativity and use that to leverage AI tools. I talked about curiosity. Learning research methods are also really, really important. That is what's going to teach you how to ask better questions that are going to lead you to better answers. I believe data collection is very essential and important. You can create an inspirational archive by collecting images, articles, and references that resonate with your creative vision. You can build digital or physical collections to organize your discoveries. These collections serve as visual libraries that you can draw from when seeking inspiration or generating fresh ideas. I've been doing this for almost 13 years. I collect everything that has something interesting or something to teach me. And I organize them in a very ordered, categorized way. And I regularly refer to them. I think it is very important to do this because AI works on data, and whatever you put into it, you will receive out of it. If you put garbage in, you will get garbage out. If you give it generic inputs, it generates generic outputs. And by tapping into your personal collection, you can make AI create spaces and products that really resonate with you. And I can't emphasize enough the power of reading, learning, and studying, and doing everything you can to increase your overall understanding and intuition of the world of architecture and design. This is something AI lacks. And this habit of learning will also influence your critical thinking skills and help you make more informed decisions by looking at a problem from different perspectives. You can also use AI tools as educational resources. They can create personalized content for you and create information that is not easily possible to find on Google. For example, it is very useful and helpful to read and learn about a specific historical era in a country, but it is hard to find out exactly what was happening in another part of the world at that time, or who was reigning at that specific context, and how was, for example, the economic situation at that other part of the world. So you can ask very targeted questions and get answers really, really fast. In architecture, you can do targeted studying. For example, I want to do some kind of research on the flexibility aspect of some architecture projects. And I can ask ChatGPT to create a list of some of the most popular projects, for example, from 2017 up to now, that have incorporated flexible solutions in the design, and then go through each item in the list to learn more about their different aspects. Text-to-image tools can also be helpful in learning and improving your own imaginations. I always recommend people to try ideas that are hard for them or even impossible for them to imagine, and then analyze the results and carefully investigate how the tool has done it and learn from it, because that is why these tools are there, to expand our imagination. And I will end this talk by featuring this conversation I had with ChatGPT a few months ago when I asked it to predict the future of architecture and design. This is how my prompt goes. It's the year 2050, and so many jobs or parts of jobs have been taken over by AI. What is your guess about the type of architectural design jobs that are still done by humans? And it answers that in the year 2050, despite advancements in AI, there are likely still architectural design jobs that require human involvement, which are: one, conceptualization. Architects bring creativity, vision, and a deep understanding of human needs and desires to design processes. Two is emotional and cultural factors. Architecture often serves as a reflection of society, culture, and emotions. Human architects can incorporate these intangible aspects into their design, creating spaces that evoke specific feelings or respond to cultural context. Three, collaboration and communication. Architects frequently collaborate with clients, engineers, contractors, and other stakeholders. Effective communication, negotiation, and problem-solving skills are essential in understanding and addressing their requirements, constraints, and preferences. Four, contextual adaptation. Architectural design often involves responding to specific site conditions, such as topography, climate, and local regulations. Human architects can analyze and adapt design to suit these contextual factors appropriately. Five, ethics and sustainability. The ethical and sustainable aspects of architecture require human judgment and decision-making. Architects play a crucial role in integrating environmentally friendly and socially responsible practices into their design. Sixth, aesthetic sensibility. The appreciation of beauty, harmony, and aesthetics can be subjective and deeply personal. human architects can infuse their designs with a unique artistic sensibility that resonates with individuals and communities. While AI can support architects with data analysis, generating design alternatives, or optimizing certain aspects, the human touch and expertise are likely to remain vital in architectural design to ensure the creation of meaningful and contextually appropriate spaces. Thank you for listening. I'll be here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Aida, for this impressive presentation. What are the future prospects and potential evaluation we can expect in the interplay between AI and creativity?
Well, it is really hard to predict the future. I'm not a super forecaster, but I basically talked based on my experience. When I first encountered AI, the first thought that occurred to me was, wow, it's a calculator. And I didn't speak up to now, and it's exactly 1 year past, and I still view it as the same. I still think that it's a calculator. And I think the creativity part is mostly on humans, and it is humans that need to input the AI, and it just blends it. It's a really great blender of ideas that it really relies heavily on human intuition to operate. So I think that the human aspect of architecture and creativity is going to be crucial in the future. That's just my perspective. Some other people might have another idea, and my perspective might also change. So this is what I think now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a new tool. Question from Mataz. Are there any famous firms now using AI?
Yes, I think Zahedid architects use it, and I think so many others. I know Zahedid that they use it at the very early stages. It's a brainstorming tool, I told you, to come up with different ideas. And I think that it's going to be used more and more. It's going to be adopted by more design firms because this is something I told you, we missed it. It's a playground for designers. If they look at it like it's a laboratory, it's an idea lab that you can, throw two ideas together and just see how it will react. Yeah.
Since you are involved now in teaching it and doing workshops, how might AI generative tools impact the educational and professional training of artists and creatives in the future, as you think?
Well, I think that the AI aspect of, the things that you need to learn about using AI are not really something that you need to be concerned with. They usually take a few sessions. They're very easy to use tools. I'm talking specifically about the creative tools like Midjourney. There are other AI tools that are highly calculative. For example, the tools that are about energy analysis and things like that. The AI training is not something you need to be concerned with, but you need to work on yourself, I think. As a human, what skills you need to have to collaborate with AI. I think the creativity part and the judgment part are the essential things that you need to work on. And I think after AI courses, how to use AI tools, we're going to see workshops on how to think more creatively and how to be better judges and critique. These are the most essential things that I think are going to take a lifetime to learn. They're not just things that you can learn in,
Last
1 or 2
question.
sessions.
Last question. Do you think there are limits of the current AI generative tools in the realm of creativity?
Yes, of course. I told you it's very hard to capture what you imagine. And it's not just my vision, something that I've come up with. I see other creators stating the same thing, that you think something in your mind and you type and it gives you something else, something that wasn't even in your mind. And that's why I said that when you have that vagueness about what you want to create, it works the best because you don't know exactly what you want and you try so many different alternatives. Throw ideas together, throw everything together, blend 2, 3, 10 ideas together and see how you can create something that didn't exist before. Yes, there are limitations.
Aida, thank you again for being with us today and looking
Thank
forward
you.
to building in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.